has never been part of the county's plan, right? Has never been. And so, from my point of view, I think this resolution should be tabled because it's not properly, seems to me, the business of Shandaken. It seems to me what's properly the business of Shandaken is promoting Shandaken. These things that are happening in Kingston, in Ulster, this is where they're talking about tearing up track, right? In City of Kingston, Town of Ulster, Town of West Hurley, Town of Olive, we don't have a dog in this fight. I recommend this resolution be tabled. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you folks. I got a lot out of tonight. I appreciate everybody's comments and thank you for keeping it fairly simple. Cameron, I'm just curious, did Rick take you on those hikes when he was trying to sell the house?
No, but when I moved here, Rick said, "Don't I know you?" And I said, "Yeah, you've seen me." He said, "I thought I've seen you around town a lot." And so he recognized me from eating at Brio's, from walking into Marietta's over the years. I was very happy to see that. He recognized me. Made me feel very welcome.
I'd like to hear from Count. I know Tim got. I know you guys.
Yeah, I want to say something. I just look at the numbers of this. Again, I'm not for this resolution. A lot of it is the wording in here, and one of them is on line 7. It talks about the town, the improbability of either rail trail operation between Phoenicia and Big Indian. Now, I just don't believe that. I believe that that the trail could be put in up there. I don't see a train going through there, but I do see a trail going through there. Trails have a history of going around. If you've been on the Tannersville Trail, going over towards North Lake, it goes on part of the road over there, so it can be done. On line 4, when it says, Phoenicia, whereas the township supports existing operation of the Cascade Mountain Railroad, which I do. I support the Cascade Mountain Railroad like probably everybody else in here. We're all for the railroad in town here. We know what it does. And if we could put a trail next to it, fine, that would be great. But that's as far as I go with that. And it says in here to expand. Now, I don't believe in expanding on it. I happen to be a supporter of the county's plan to put a trail from Kingston up. Then down here it says corporate use of the corridor of the rail trail corridor. The corridor, once again, that's expanding on line 5, I'm sorry. I just don't see that. You know, again, in the corridor, I can't sign, I don't even know why we're having this resolution in front of us. This is still in court. And we keep saying that we're in supporting the corridor, the train in the corridor, saying that we want to see it expand. Well, I don't think we should be saying anything as the town right now. We're for what they have in Shandaken, I believe that. And then I go look at the numbers on this. And I look at the West Hurley Trail. And they're saying that 81,000 users use that trail down there. That's a lot of people. The Hudson Valley Rail Trail, 667,000 people use that. These are big numbers, they're staggering numbers. I mean, to get those people up here. The trail around the reservoir, if we have that in. If you're getting 81,000 on the O&W down in Hurley, imagine what the reservoir could bring in. There's $3.5 to $4 million that DEP has towards planning, design, and construction of the Ulster County Rail Trail project around the reservoir. And then there's additional grants that can come out as the project advances. There's also another $1 million thrown in there for parking through the DOT, state through the DOT for parking and kiosks that can go in. There's a lot of money pouring into this. So why we're taking like really one side in this resolution, I don't know. Again, I think we should table it.
I'd just like to say that from talking to the railroad people and talking to the trail people, there seems to be 2 different opinions on railroad trail. The railroad people say, yes, we can build a railroad trail. We've done it. We've checked it out. It can be done. The trail people say, no, it can't be done. It can only be done between Boyceville and Phoenicia. It can't be done anywhere else. Only Boyceville to Phoenicia. So somebody's not got their facts straight there.
invite the county to present to you and offer why they're proposing that.
Video.
I've got my one comment on this. I'm in favor of this resolution. Jim, I understand your concern with it. You know, the 81,000 people you're saying down in Hurley down there, they're counting the same ones every day. I've gone down there and seen the same cars and the same folks, which is fine. The number 7, I agree with you on. Whereas the town also recognizes the high improbability of either a rail or trail operation. Well, I'd like that to be deleted. Improbability of either a rail or trail, it depends on who's ever outlook at it. I think with some of the volunteerism that is going on, there could be a trail over there. They're talking about, one of the speakers talked about linking up Phoenicia with their houses here and there, anywhere from Big Indian down. That could be done. I understand the bridge out up there, but say from Moore's Market on down, that could be a trail. So I'd like to see that deleted. I'm heartened by the volunteerism over the last 30 years. I know there's old curmudgeons like myself and Taken and Harry that have been around a long time watching this railroad go up and stuff, and somebody else said about momentum changing. I see young folks, like the young man who came up here and spoke to us and gave us these CDs, and a crew of young people back there who are now moving into the volunteerism down there, clearing trails. I commend them. The only time I see young folks is here when they have to be here because of a civics requirement in school. I'm really heartened to see them here saying, we're getting involved in this and we want to see this done. So that's the vision for the future there. So number 7, I'm in agreement with this.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to say, first of all, everyone who has shown up for this, it shows me that people are really interested in this issue. And 100%, everybody believes on both sides of the table. We're not against, we're not for, everyone's pro something. Pro rail, pro trail, pro both. I have an issue with the resolution. I think that we're in litigation. I don't think we should be doing a resolution while litigation is happening. I also think some of the wording, I would like to see more wording that talks about the trail, because I think that's very, very important. And I also think I don't have enough information that's concrete. All I'm getting is opinions from people. And I really would love to see a public hearing on this where we have all the information on the table, where we can all see the true picture. So for me, that's a reasonable way to go.
Okay. Let me explain this, that the intent of this resolution in no way, shape, or form disregards the idea of creating an interconnected trail from Highmount to Kingston. What we're trying to state here in summation is both parties need to sit down, and I appreciate Mr. Bain's comment, I think it was, who said we have not had the opportunity to have this civil discourse in a public forum where everybody can have their voice heard and their concerns heard. So I appreciate that. We are not trying to say no trail or rail versus the other. It's saying rail with trail, number 1. Number 2, we're also trying to clarify that I heard comments back about on the original resolution that we shouldn't be making comment. We're not intending to make comment about anything outside of the portion in Shandaken. Obviously, we would like to see our assets continue to expand and become more tourists, draw more tourists as best they can. But it's not appropriate for us to comment on things outside. And if it's inferred in this resolution that we're demanding of Kingston of anything, that is absolutely not the case. Again, let's recognize that Shandaken has had this CMRR with the good grace of these volunteers operating here for 30 years. There is no denying that it draws people here. I've heard from restaurateurs who even during the fall have said that every 20 minutes they get a group of people that come in and say, can you get me a sandwich before the train leaves, because I got to get the train with the kids. So that does occur. We have 10,000 people a year that come here for this attraction. That's, again, we know that there's a number of people that come for trails as well. I'd also like to read, along with some of the information that I received today, what came along with the Friends of the Catskill Mountain Rail Trail was several packets of information. One of them being the press release from Mike Hines' announcement about the DEP monies being offered for the trail. And I will read, quote, "The people of Ulster County deserve the best of both worlds, a world-class interconnected rail trail system from the breathtaking Shandaken Reservoir to the wildly popular walkway over the Hudson and beyond, as well as a well-maintained historic tourism railroad attraction west of the Ashokan. Today, the people of Ulster County take a major step towards the best of both worlds." So that's Mike Hines' comment on this issue, admitting that he is in favor of trail operation, especially west, which if you don't know where we are, we're west of the Ashokan. Secondly, I'd also like to state, in the fact sheet that I received on the UND Corridor Rail Trail, there are questions here, and one question is, isn't there a tourism railroad operating on the UND Railroad Corridor? One of the answers, it says yes, along approximately 5 up to 40 miles. One of the answers in reference to the comment about the high you did it to me, but improbability of the section from Phoenicia to Big Indian. I will quote, "The western 12 miles is inaccessible for rail in sections due to rail bed loss and undermining from multiple flooding events." So all we were trying to state is that we keep hearing about this trail or this rail. There is no rail bed in spots. There is no rail to be pulled up because they're buried in cobble in the stream. A trail would need to leave that corridor and get other properties in order to exist. That is just all I was trying to get said through that paragraph. Not that we don't want a trail in that area. That the UND corridor itself is non-contiguous from Phoenicia to Big Indian. I'll go on further. Will the tourist railroad be able to continue its operations? Again, this is rail trail information. Yes, the railroad will be assisted in expanding its current operations to a 6-mile segment, 12-mile round trip between Phoenicia and Boyceville, which is what our resolution states, where most of its current annual ridership exists. Possibly, this is the next bullet, possibly expansion by the Delaware and Ulster Railroad from the west could occur as well. So this is the county saying these things, and we're just reiterating them through resolution. Ultimately, what we're saying is stop the bickering, sit down, hammer this out, and get something done. Something. I do see a push from the railroad. You know, again, maybe it's reinvigorated the volunteerism in you. Maybe it's refired up some people that were dormant for a number of years. But good. I mean, again, let's take a turn and say stop with what's occurred in the past. I know that this guy didn't like that guy, or this one didn't like this one, or this one said bad stuff. You got to bury that stuff at some point and move on for the betterment of everybody in the towns, in your own organization, in the county as well. So if it wasn't clear through this resolution, then we can certainly consider rewording it again and going to it. But again, we just want to see this settled. We feel that this is an asset we would like to see continue to operate in the town of Shandaken. Again, I think it would be foolish to have the Empire State Railroad Museum without an operational railroad adjacent to it. It just makes, you know, the next exhibit will be the Penguin exhibit, because they have everything. So it just gets a little far-fetched. We're not trying to ruffle any feathers. And if the county is going to get upset with us commenting on activities we would like to see continue in our town, then so be it. I think we're willing to take that. But I know Mr. Hine fairly well. I think I have a fairly good relationship with him. So a little shaky right now with this thing going on. But again, we're bigger men, and we all just want to do what's in the best interest of the people of the town and people of the county. Again, it wasn't our intention to make a statement about anything outside of the town of Shandaken. But these are all possibilities that have been discussed, and maybe this is what the county needs to do, is have an option for a public discourse, maybe at UPAC or something, where they can air out all these differences, and finally get a deal done and move on with our lives. So that was my intention with the resolution. When we get to it, we'll find out what we want to do.
Reword it. Yeah, reword it. I think it's fine. That's what
We'll
it needs.
get to the resolution. I know, Mr. Wetland, you haven't been here in a while, but we did run a board review.
Sorry, I've been sleeping the whole time.
So with that, I think we're ready to move on to resolutions.
Resolution number 5114, resolution to pay all bills. Whereas the Department of Audit and Control require town boards to sign and inspect all vouchers coming into the town for payment to number. and total amounts from each fund. Therefore, be it resolved that the town board authorize the following vouchers paid. General, $93,357.69. Highway, $113,437.67. Bishop Water, $9,736.09. Pine Hill Water, $2,369.86. Phoenicia Lights, $1,091.10. Chichester Lights, $149.39. Pine Hill Lights, $610.12, and I move its adoption.
I'll second that.
Board Member Bernstein?
Yes.
Board Member Higley?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storr?
Yes.
Supervisor Downing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where, Resolution 5214, whereas under Section 42 of the Town Law, the Town Board may create the post of Deputy Supervisor. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board approve the appointment of Tim Malloy to act as Deputy Supervisor in the absence of the Supervisor without compensation for the year 2014, and move its adoption.
I'll second.
Board Member Bernstein?
Yes.
Board Member Higley?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Accuse myself on this.
Yeah. I got it. Board Member Storr?
Yes.
Supervisor Downing?
Yes, that was a big bucks.
Big bucks.
Big bucks.
Want me to read the next one?
Yes.
Whereas the annual budget Resolution 5314, American Legion and Veterans of Foreign Wars. Whereas the annual budget approved by the town board provides money for patriotic observances and veterans organizations. And whereas it has been the procedure to pay this town to the American Legion and the Veterans of Foreign War for said purposes. Therefore, it be resolved that the sum of $1,250 each be and hereby is appropriated for rent of rooms and patriotic observances for each of the organizations for the year 2014. And I move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Bernstein?
Recuse, member of the American Legion.
I thought you were for that.
It's fine.
Board Member Higley?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Recused, member of the VFW.
Board Member Storr?
Yes.
Supervisor Downing?
Yes.
Resolution 5414, resolution advertising for town engineering and planning firms. Whereas the town of Shandaken is in need of assistance in developing and reviewing multiple plans and data in several areas, including but not limited to FEMA-funded projects, New York Rising Project stormwater project, water system upgrades for 2 municipal water districts, and assisting the town planning and recreation boards in their planning activities when requested. Therefore, be it resolved, the town of Shandaken advertise for an engineering and planning firm to assist the town in these endeavors and make submissions to the town containing all necessary information outlined in the request for proposal, RFP, attached to this resolution. And therefore, be it further resolved that any bid proposal be received no later than 12 p.m. on Monday, March 10th, 2014, in the town of Shandaken, Town Clerk's Office, 7209 Route 28, New York, 12480. Bid should be clearly marked E and P bid proposal on the outside of the sealed bid proposal. The town will hold a special town board meeting on Monday, March 10th, 2014, at 1 p.m. in the Shandaken Town Hall, 7209 Route 28, Shandaken, New York, 12480, to review the proposal and will notify the successful firm when selected. The town of Shandaken reserves the right to reject any and all bids. I move its adoption.
I'll second.
Board Member
Just on this resolution here, I feel that there's not really need to have another engineering firm hired by the town. If we have specific projects or whatever, I think we should just put out for it and get a engineering firm that's expertise in that particular project and go through the regular procedure that we normally do. You know, we have an attorney firm, and whenever there's a specific law action that goes on and that particular firm doesn't want to handle it, we have to go out and get another attorney firm to handle this one, another attorney one to get that one. So I don't see the problem in doing that. Just to make bigger government as far as I'm concerned. So I'm gonna vote no.
Board Member Higley?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storr?
Yes.
Supervisor Downing?
Yes.
Resolution 55-14, resolution establishing town board's special meeting, whereas the town of Shandaken needs to conduct certain town business in a timely fashion concerning a request for proposals, advertising for a town engineering and planning firm. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Shandaken Town Board will conduct a special meeting at 1 p.m. on Monday, March 10th, 2014, for the purpose of conducting business related to review and hiring of a town engineering and planning firm. And move its adoption.
Second.
Yep.
Board Member Bernstein?
Well, since I just voted no on the last one, I'm gonna vote no on this one too.
Board Member Higley?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
Yes.
Board Member Storms?
Yes.
Supervisor Stanley?
Yes.
Resolution number 56-14, resolution concerning development and use of the Ulster County-owned Ulster and Delaware Railroad right-of-way. Whereas the County of Ulster, New York State owns 38.61 miles of the former Ulster and Delaware U&D Railroad right-of-way extending from the city of Kingston westward to the Delaware County border at High Mountain near Bel Air Mountain Ski Center, of which nearly 16 miles are located in the town of Shandaken. And whereas the Catskill Mountain Railroad, CMRR, holds a lease with Ulster County for the U&D Railroad corridor that expires in 2016. And whereas continuing legal battles between these entities increases cost for both a local tourist attraction and the County of Ulster, whose funds are provided by the taxpayers of Ulster County, and accomplishes nothing but exacerbates a relationship between the two entities which should be working toward a common goal beneficial for all the parties involved, most notably the taxpayers and residents of the County of Ulster and the town of Shandaken. And whereas the town of Shandaken supports the existing operations of the CMRR and recognizes the economic benefits it currently provides for our local community, the town of Shandaken Town Board desires that the existing railroad operations from Phoenicia to Boyceville be allowed to continue or be expanded in order to reach their maximum economic potential for the town of Shandaken. And whereas the town of Shandaken also recognizes the potential economic and health benefits of a proposal for cooperative use of the corridor as rail with trail corridor, thereby increasing the accessibility, use, and economic benefits of the corridor. And whereas trail construction could be accomplished parallel to the railroad tracks or constructed atop the railroad tracks in areas where railroad activity is not anticipated over the next 5 years without removing railroad infrastructure. And can I request this be deleted?
Sounds like everybody's shooting that one.
Whereas the Delaware and Ulster Railroad, DURR, located in Arkville, Delaware County, New York State, and has expressed interest in reestablishing and extending its operations east into Ulster County. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Shandaken requests that all involved parties immediately cease their legal efforts and sincerely enter into discussions to work out a solution agreeable for all parties involved, including the taxpayers of the town of Shandaken and the county of Ulster. And be it further resolved that the town of Shandaken requests that Ulster County representatives work to ensure continuing operations of current tourism railroad activities, especially from Phoenicia to Boyceville. And be it further resolved that the town of Shandaken additionally requests that Ulster County representatives work cooperatively with the DURR to extend its operations to Big Indian, Ulster County, New York. And be it yet further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the following: Honorable Governor Andrew Cuomo, United States Senator Charles Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand, United States Representative Chris Gibson, New York State Senate Majority Leader Dean Skilos, and New York State Senators James Stewart, John Bonisic, William J. Larkin, and Cecilia Kazik, New York State Assembly Speaker Sheldon Silver, and New York State Assembly members Kevin Cahill, Claudia Tenney, Frank Potatoes, and Peter Lopez, Ulster County Legislative Chair John Parity and the Ulster County Legislature, Ulster County Executive Michael P. Hine, the Ulster County Railroad Advisory Committee, the Ulster County Trails Advisory Committee, the Town of Hurley Town Board, the Town of Olive Town Board, the Town of Ulster Town Board, the City of Kingston City Council, the Town of Middletown, Delaware County Town Board, and I move its adoption.
Second.
Board Member Bernstein?
Yes.
Board Member Higley?
Yes.
Board Member Malloy?
No.
Board Member Storms?
No.
Supervisor Stanley?
Yes.
Resolution 57-14, resolution establishing scenic byway management entity composition. Whereas the town of Shandaken, Ulster County, in March of 2013, adopted the draft corridor management plan for the Route 28 Catskill Mountain Scenic Byway. And whereas the process toward the final approval of the Route 28 Byway plan by New York State can take anywhere from 24 to 36 months. And whereas the process includes establishment of a formal management entity for the byway, and whereas there is no financial or other obligation attached to this step. And whereas the formalization of the management responsibilities during the final New York State Department of Transportation review and approval process will facilitate the process. And whereas the supervisors and mayors in each of the following towns and villages along the proposed byway, Olive, Shandaken, Middletown, Fleischmann, Margaretville, and Andes, have established the New York State Route 28 Municipal Leaders Group comprised of the supervisors and mayors of each respective municipality. Therefore, be resolved that the town board of the town of Shandaken, Ulster County, New York, does hereby recognize the New York State Route 28 Municipal Leaders Group and as the board of directors for the proposed Catskill Mountain Scenic Byway under the following guidelines. The board of directors shall be comprised of the current supervisor or mayor of each municipality along the proposed byway, such as
Folks, please keep it down while we conduct business.
A, Town of Andes supervisor. B, Town of Middletown supervisor. C, Town of Olive supervisor. D, Town of Shandaken supervisor. E, Village of Fleischmann's mayor. F, Village of Margaretville mayor. Number 2, the board of directors shall elect officers, chair, vice chair, secretary, annually or upon a vacancy created by election, resignation from elected office, or death. If a vote action is required by the board of directors, the members shall first receive approval through formal resolutions by each of their respective municipal governing town village boards. Number 4, if direct funding